All right. In this video, I am going to create this beautiful 3D background of these circles using the Blender geometry nodes, and how we can create this beautiful motion graphic effects. Very simple. And if you like this kind of procedural motion graphic effects, then you can visit my Patreon where you find a lot of procedural stuff. So how we can create this beautiful animation. Now let's jump into the tutorial. All right, we are in Blender. And here I use this cube in geometry node. So before enter into the geometry node, first I scale this cube, press S5, scale this cube 5 times, and Control A to apply the scale. And now I search for the cylinder and move this along y-axis, something like that, and press period key to focus this. And here I use this cylinder for the circles in the geometry node. So first I scale this along z-axis, something like that, and Control A to apply the scale. And here in the modifier, here I bevel this, add a bevel modifier, and here I decrease this amount, something like that, and apply this modifier, and right click and shade auto smooth. Now we have this circle which we use in geometry node. Now select this cube and enter into the geometry node workspace, and here I hit this new button to create a new node tree. Now we have this. So here I search for the mesh to volume node, and we have this volume, and here I distribute the point in this cube. So for that, here I search for the distribute point in volume and connect it here. Now we have these very small points which we can use as an instance to this cylinder. So here I search for the instance on point and place it here. And here in the outliner, I drag this cylinder and connect this with the instance. Now we have the instance of these cylinder or disc or circle, whatever you call it. And here I scale this cylinder 0.2, very little. And now we have this. And I also rotate this along y-axis to 90 degree. Now we have this kind of pattern. Nice. Now I want to add the camera to this. So for that, press 3. So we are in a right orthographic view. And here I shift A to search for the camera and press Ctrl Alt 0 to see over this pattern in the camera view. And here in this camera setting, I decrease this focal length to see the best view of the circle, something like that. Now we have this, select this, and we are in the geometry node. Now here I want to rotate these instances along the z-axis. So for that, here I search for the rotate instance node, because all of these are instances, and place it here. And I want to animate these rotation. So for that, here I search for the combine XYZ and place it here and connect with the rotation of the rotate instance. Now we use these values to rotate these instances. Now I check the axis which is working. In our case, you can see this is not working, and this is along the y-axis. This is not, and I think x-axis is working to rotate these instances along the z-axis, because here in the instance point we change this rotation value. Now here I search for the notch texture, place it here and connect this vector with the x-axis. So you can see the rotation, and here I convert this to the 4D. So we can use this W value to animate this, and this detail to 0. Now we can see the very little rotation along the z-axis, to increase this, here I search for the math node and connect it here and convert this to the multiply and increase this value. So we have randomly rotate these instances, something like that. Now we use this value to animate this back to the 0. So how we can animate this in the looping? So for that, here I duplicate this noise structure and place it here. And here I search for the mix color node and connect this vector with the A and this with the B and this with our multiply. Now we have this and back to this 0. And for this animation, I start from 0 to 120 frame and start from 0. And here I hover this value W and hit I to insert the keyframe and hover this factor value and hit I to insert the keyframe. Now we jump to the last frame, which is the 120. And here I put 1 and hit I to insert the keyframe and increase this factor to 1 and also hit I to insert the keyframe. And in the second noise structure, here I hover this value W and hit I to insert the keyframe. And now back to the frame 0. And here I put the same number, which is here 1, and the opposite here, which is -1, to make this animation fully looping and hit I to insert the keyframe. Now here, if I run this simulation, you can see our animation is fully looping, and here you can see there is no animation break after the 120 frame to 0. Now we have this kind of pattern. Now I want to add the material to these circles. So for that, here I search for the set material node and connect it here. And here in the material properties, I create a new material and pick this material in the geometry node workspace. And now our material is selected. And now we enter into the material workspace. And here I create a very simple material for this structure. Here in 3D viewport, we enter into the camera view and also in the material view. So we can see our material. And here I change the color for this material, something like that. And here I increase this metallic value to 1 and decrease this roughness to 0.2, something like that. And here in the subsurface, I increase this weight. So you can see a very little light bouncing from these circles. Now we have very simple material in our material panel. And for this animation, I use the EV render engine. So you can see, and I hit F12 to make just one frame. Now we have this kind of animation with the transparent background, because here in this film section, I choose this transparent background to make this background fully black. Here we are enter into the compositing and hit this use node button. And here I search for the alpha over node and connect it here and connect this render layer with the second image of the alpha over node. And here I decrease this to fully black background for this. And now I enter into this layout and also enter into the camera view and also in the render view. You cannot see the fully background. So for that, here I select this always. Now we can see our background is fully black due to the compositing. Here we add the alpha over node. Now here I want to add the lighting for this scene. So for that, here I search for the light, which is the spotlight, and I want to rotate this along y-axis 90 degrees, something like that, and move this light along x-axis so we can see something like that, and enter into the camera view. Now we have this kind of pattern. And here in the light properties, I change the color for this light, something like that. You cannot see the color, because the power of this light is very low. And here I increase this power 5000, and here you can see our light is reflecting these circles. And here we back to the camera view, and here I increase this beam size to cover our whole camera, something like that. And if I run this simulation, now you can see when these instances are rotating, then the light from this spotlight are reflected from our these circles. Now we have this, and if I press F12, you can see this beautiful animation in rendered view. Thanks for watching.